Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming MCS exams happening in February 2026. My name is Nicholas and I'm one of the lead tutors and evaluators for MCS at TCS. So let's look at the session outcomes. First things first, I'm going to share some technicalities concerning the MCS exam. For some of you, this might be your first CIMA case study. If so, it's essential that you gain an in-depth understanding of the technicalities behind your exam and how you should conduct your preparations and develop your answers and whatnot. And aligned with the same philosophy, I will be sharing a study plan with you because most students don't know what to do when it comes to conducting preparations and at the same time when to start their preparations or how to pace out their preparations. So all these things are covered within the study plan, which I'm going to share with you, which is developed with the intention of ensuring that you have enough and more time to attempt all mock exams. And also you have the opportunity to dedicate considerable amount of time towards revision, which is the most crucial element to pass this examination. And since I missed last week's webinar, I was supposed to conduct the first webinar last week. And as per our initial schedule, I was supposed to conduct a pre-scene analysis in today's session. However, since I missed it due to one of my kids, falling sick, I will be conducting a pre-scene analysis partially. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritties. Instead, I'm going to take you through the entire pre-scene, given the fact that I've already conducted a pre-scene analysis in the previous session, which was focused on November 2025 exams. As you know, this pre-scene is relevant for both November 2025 as well as February 2026 MCS exams, since I've already covered or conducted a pre-scene analysis previously last month. After this session, I will be sharing the link to this YouTube video via our WhatsApp group. However, I will be explaining general elements or information highlighted within your pre-scene so that you'd understand how to approach the pre-scene document. And before we get into the technicalities, let me quickly remind you of the upcoming webinars and workshops we have scheduled for you. So next Sunday, which is the 14th of December at the same time, 10 a.m. UK or 10 GMT, I'm going to conduct the most important webinar out of the webinars and workshops scheduled, which is in which I'm going to teach you answering and time management techniques. If you are to excel in this exam, it's essential that you understand how to structure your answers, how to work on your application, how to bring in conceptual elements, conceptual knowledge whenever you are developing answers. And at the same time, most students end up failing this exam due to them running out of time at the real exam. So it's essential, it's crucial that you manage your time at your examination. So if you have to manage your time properly, then you have to practice the answering and time management techniques, which I'm going to teach you next week. And after teaching you these two techniques, I'm going to take you through one of the mock exams, and based on it, I'm going to explain how to practically implement these two techniques, answering and time management. So make sure to attend this webinar without fail. And similarly, on the 4th of January, I will be conducting another webinar in which I'm going to share stress management techniques with you. So at this exam, the examiner is not just testing your theory knowledge and application skills. The examiner is also testing whether you are capable of managing stressful situations. If you had, attempted a previous, it could be an OCS exam or it could be the MCS exam. If you had attempted a previous CIMA case study, you know how tough it is to sit in one place across 3 hours and keep repeating the same techniques over and over across 4 different sections. So especially towards the last 2 sections of your paper or the last 1.5 hours of your paper, you will feel fatigued. And these extreme levels of fatigue will lead to extreme levels of stress. So it's essential that you manage your stress levels. That is why I'm going to teach you some tips which will enable you to manage stress levels. And once you have learned these things, you are supposed to practice these stress management techniques whenever you are attempting our mock exams. And in the same webinar, I will be taking you through the exam blueprint, thereby directing your attention towards examiner's comments. It's essential that you understand what the examiner expects from you, both in terms of preparations and on the day of the exam. And once we are done with the webinar series, we are kickstarting our workshop and masterclass series. And in each workshop or masterclass, I'm going to take you through each syllabus area or each pillar concerning your F2, P2, and E2 syllabi. And at the same time, I'm going to take you through a mock exam and its answer plan, thereby explaining how to tackle a question tied to the F2, P2, and E2 syllabi. And in each of these workshops and masterclasses, we will be conducting a Q&A. So if you have any questions or concerns, you can get them addressed instantaneously by attending these workshops and masterclasses. And a day or two before your examination, I will be conducting the final workshop in which I'm going to share last minute tips with you to make sure that you are capable of walking into the exam with a higher level of positivity. Because as per the CIMA examiner, if you believe in your skill set, if you believe in yourself, you can easily pass this examination. So make use of these free resources on offer. Attend these weekly webinars and workshops, which is the best way to get all your questions addressed. And at the same time, this is the easiest way to keep tabs about your performance at the end of each week. All right, so let's try to figure out how students end up at the MCS exam. So there's a minority of students who are coming through the CIMA general route. So these are the type of individuals who have completed their OCS exam. Therefore, these individuals have a good understanding of how CIMA case study exams work. And because of that, they are not going to struggle too much with the MCS exam. And also, since these students who are coming through the general route, since these individuals have completed their E2, F2, and P2 OTQ exams, they have learned all conceptual elements. They have championed all conceptual elements. Therefore, this exam is going to be a walk in the park for these type of students. Why am I saying this? Because in this exam, 50% weightage is provided towards testing your theory knowledge and 50% weightage is provided towards testing your application. So if you have learned all conceptual elements, since you are conversant with the OTQ syllabus area, since you have passed the OTQ exams, you need not really worry, because on your own, you can figure out application if you are knowledgeable about all syllabus areas contained within your E2, F2, and P2 syllabi. However, on the other hand, we find another set of students who are coming through the exemption routes, such as the Master's Gateway Program or the Finance Leadership Program or FLP. So both these sets of students, since they are coming through exemptions, they will struggle a bit with theoretical concepts covered under the F2 and P2 syllabi. You will be somewhat comfortable with E2 because E2 is all about decision making, project management, managing stakeholders, the HR elements, business models, and whatnot, which are usually covered in academic qualifications or master's degree programs. However, when it comes to P2 and F2, these are the highly technical elements in which your knowledge concerning management accountancy as well as financial accountancy are tested. So as per my experience, what I've understood is the fact that most students who come through the exemption routes, although they have a master's degree, they don't have a good understanding of the F2 and P2 syllabi. Especially looking at F2, there are IASs and IFRSs which are tested at your examination. So, for instance, if you are based in South Africa, IASs and IFRSs are not practiced in your country. On the other hand, if you are living in India, IASs and IFRSs are not practiced. Instead, you are practicing your own local accounting standards, which are practiced within your country. So when this is the case, you will have to spend some additional time to learn IASs and IFRSs. And on top of that, most students do not have a good management accountancy related knowledge. That's why most students struggle with what's highlighted within the P2 syllabus. So you need not worry, although I'm saying that you are going to struggle a bit compared to someone who is coming through the general route. You need not worry. We at TCS, we have developed some additional resources which are primarily focused on addressing your needs which are developed to ensure that you learn theory, all theoretical elements covered within your MCS exam, and at the same time, you will have the opportunity to significantly improve your application skills. So in a little while, when I'm explaining what we offer at TCS, you will understand what I'm talking about. So even if you are coming through an exemption route, you need not worry. We have developed some special resources primarily focused on your needs. So if you stick to the study plan, you can gain extremely good marks at the upcoming MCS exam. And looking at the technicalities, this is a PC-based exam. So you have the opportunity of, or the option rather, of attempting this exam at home or at an examination center. However, if you are encountering frequent power outages as well as internet your drops, then my recommendation is not to attempt the exam at home. Instead, it's prudent to attempt the exam at an examination center. And on top of that, I've dealt with hordes of students since the recent past. When they try to attempt the exam at home, they face a lot of technical difficulties. So the best way to avoid all these technical difficulties and avoid complex situations which increases your stress levels unduly, the best way to avoid all these anxious moments or situations is to attempt the exam at an examination center. And looking at the time allocation of the entire paper, the time allocation is 3 hours. However, your paper is divided into 4 different sections or 4 different tasks, and the time allocation on each task or section is 45 minutes each. So let me quickly take you through a mock exam which we have developed to explain what these things, what these technical nitty-gritties are. So as you can see, as I mentioned earlier, sorry, there are 4 different sections in your typical exam paper, and the time allocation of on each section is 45 minutes each. And within each section, you will see 2 or 3 subtasks. So if you look at this paper, there are 2 subtasks each in each in each section. And at the exam, you will definitely see a majority of sections carrying just 2 subtasks. However, there could be one single subtask which carries 3 subtasks, or there could be one single section rather which carry 3 subtasks. And you can see some weightages in here as well. These weightages give us an indication of mark allocations. And by understanding the mark allocations, you can easily determine how many points you need to include under each and every subtask. So I'm going to teach you all these things in next week's webinar. Whilst teaching you answering technique, I'm going to highlight how you should determine the number of points you need to include under each answer based on the weightages provided. All right. So, proceeding with the paper, we are in section number 1. And as you can see, the time allocation is 45 minutes. So let's assume you are done with the first 45 minutes. Then once you're done with it, you will be automatically directed to section number 2. And when you are on section number 2, you cannot go back to section number 1. So that is why you need to plan your time considering 4 slots of 45 minutes each. So I'm going to, teach all these things, time management techniques, and how you should manage these 4 slots of 45 minutes in next week's webinar. So for now, let's try to gain an understanding of how your paper is structured and how your knowledge, therefore, is tested. So the examiner tries to replicate a real-life corporate environment. So that's why you see that it's as if you are receiving an email from your superior. So your role is that of a finance manager, and you are reporting directly to the senior finance manager. I'm going to take you through these nitty-gritties in a little while. I'm going to explain what your responsibilities are as a finance manager. So at this stage, what you need to remember is the fact that your knowledge is tested in a practical manner. So the way in which you should approach this case study exam is quite different to that of an academic qualification, because in an academic qualification, your knowledge is tested mainly via assignments. And in these assignments, it's all about, citing various different individuals as well as journal articles and whatnot. So it's all about explaining theory. There is application, yes, in certain instances. However, in most instances, your theoretical knowledge or conceptual knowledge is heavily tested. But in this exam, this is not a CIMA is not a professional not an academic qualification. Instead, CIMA is a professional qualification. So in this exam, your knowledge is tested in a practical manner. So the examiner is trying to figure out whether you have gained an appropriate level of knowledge concerning what's highlighted in your E2, F2, and P2 syllabi. And at the same time, the examiner tries to figure out whether you are capable of applying this knowledge in a practical context. Because when you are working at office, you are not going to go through theoretical elements, your study texts and whatnot, your mock exams and whatnot. Instead, you will read an email, and based on your experience and knowledge levels, you will come up with a response. So if you are to develop the best type of a response, then you have to be well versed with what is highlighted within E2, F2, and P2. And at the same time, when responding to an email which you'd receive from your superior, it's not about explaining theories. At office, you are never going to explain theories unduly. Instead, when developing your response, you will have to come up with a practical answer, practical response. And if you have to come up with the best type of a response, then you should utilize the knowledge which you have gained via E2, F2, and P2. So that's the exact same methodology which is replicated within this examination. So always make sure that you know all your theoretical concepts, and at the same time, you have a good understanding of how to deal with application. So I'm going to highlight all these things, how to develop answers considering conceptual knowledge and considering application. All these things will be covered in next week's webinar. So it's as if you are receiving an email from your superior. So there's a scenario which gives you an indication of some type of an opportunity the company tries to exploit, or some type of an issue the company is facing at the moment. And you can see two different bullet points. So these bullet points indicate the requirements or what you're supposed to address when developing your answers. And at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, at the end of each requirement, you can see a weightage. And this weightage gives us an indication of mark allocations. Based on these mark allocations, you are supposed to determine how many points you need to include under each and every subtask. And additionally, you will gain access to some additional information via a reference material. So at the exam, you will see in most instances, you will see only one single reference material, but sometimes you will see multiple reference material as well. This is what happens within a real life corporate environment as well. At office, when you receive an email, if the sender of the email wants to share some additional information with you, he or she will attach some additional info, and you are supposed to read the attachments. So that's exactly what's replicated in here. So these attachments are considered as reference material. So at the exam, always expect a reference material. You will never see a section which does not carry a reference material. Always there will be at least one single reference material aligned with each and every section. Okay, so that's section number 1. And if you look at section number 2, the process is similar. There's a scenario and requirements, and additional resources or additional information rather is shared with you via reference material. There's the same methodology which you can see in section 3 as well as in section number 4. And let's try to understand how you should develop your answers. So this is how you should structure your answers. As you can see, this entire answer is in paragraph form. So you are not supposed to provide answers in bullet points or single line sentences. Instead, your job is to develop answers in paragraph form. Although your final answer should look something like this, when it comes to planning your answer, you need to develop something called an answer plan or an answer structure. So essentially, what you are doing is right after reading through the scenario, before you type your final answer, you are supposed to spend some time to structure your answer or plan out your answer. Therefore, this is termed as an answer plan. So the objective of developing an answer plan is to make sure that you develop an answer which is totally aligned with the requirement. And at the same time, when you are summarizing your answer, you have enough time to think, figure out whether you are developing the most effective answer, whether you are bringing in relevant conceptual knowledge, whether you are working on application and whatnot. All these things can be considered when you take some time to think. So rather than straight away typing your final answer in paragraph form, best practice is to plan out your answer. I'm not the person who is saying it. It's the CIMA examiner who is telling you to do these things. So you have to spend some time right after reading through the requirements and each scenario. You are supposed to spend some time to develop something called an answer plan. You can see a lot of bullet points. I've kept things simple because my objective is not to finalize the answer, but to develop an answer structure. And once you have planned out your answer, utilizing the remaining time at the end of each section, you are supposed to expand your answer plan in paragraph form. So when it comes to planning, keep it simple. You can utilize bullet points, but when it comes to finalizing your answer, there shouldn't be any bullet points or single line sentences. Instead, the entire answer should be in paragraph form. And let's assume that in a certain section, you intended to include 7 valid points in a certain subtask. Then in your final answer, there should be 7 different paragraphs. And let's assume that in subtask B, you intended to include 10 valid points in your answer plan when you are developing your answer plan. And if so, when it comes to finalizing your answer, there should be 10 different paragraphs. So all these things will be taught in depth in next week's webinar. I just want you to get an idea of how your knowledge is tested and what you need to tackle in order to succeed at this examination. All right, so that's what your examination is all about. And in order to pass this exam, you need to score 80 out of 150, or as a percentage, you need to score 54%. So it's quite easy to achieve 54%. Even if you screw up half your paper, still you can pass this exam as long as you are conversant with how each syllabus area is tested. And that is why we urge you to stick to our study plan. By doing so, you are dedicating some time to practice all mock exams under exam conditions, and at the same time, you are taking steps to revise. Revision is the most important element in which you will cement your theory knowledge, and at the same time, you will significantly improve your application skills. All right, so then let's try to understand what your role is. You are, as I mentioned earlier, you are supposed to play the role of a finance manager, and you are operating within the management level of your chosen company. So first things first, let's look at a typical organizational hierarchy. So at the very top, you get the strategic level decision makers. So these are the board members. These individuals adopt something called an outside-in approach when it comes to decision making. Therefore, before finalizing a decision, they are first things first supposed to think about how the external dynamics or the industry dynamics will be impacted due to their decisions. So they have to think about the competitors, how the competitors are going to react to their decisions, how the shareholders are going to react to our decisions, and at the same time, how customers, suppliers, distributors, all these types of main stakeholders are going to react to our decisions. So that's what an outside-in approach is all about. And once they are satisfied about the fact that major stakeholders, once they are satisfied that major stakeholders are not going to be dissatisfied by a certain decision, then they are going to be inward and think about how each of their decisions are going to impact the internal dynamics of your chosen company. So that's the role of the board members who are at the very top of any given organization. And then let's direct our attention towards those who are at the operational level. So these are the individuals who are at the lowest level of any given organization. So operational level employees are involved with implementing the decisions which are arrived at by the board members. So let's assume the board members want to increase sales by 10% in the next 12 months. So if we are to increase sales by 10% in the next 12 months, on a daily basis, we should keep moving towards this goal. If not, we are not going to achieve a 10% sales increment in the next 12 months. So it's essential that the operational level employees on a daily basis keep moving forward to achieve the goals which are set by board members. So as a finance manager who is located at the management level, your job is to keep tabs about the operations of operational level employees. You have to keep tabs about whether they are doing their job properly. So there's a lot of negotiation involved and conflict resolution involved, and at the same time you are supposed to provide appropriate levels of leadership and manage HR related affairs. You are supposed to manage projects and manage various different stakeholders. And on top of that, you need to look at the financial elements as well when managing operational level employees. Not just management and leadership related elements will be tested at your exam. Your other role is to keep the strategic level decision makers informed of how the operational level employees are performing. So you have to communicate with both operational level employees as well as the board members. So there is a communication role up and down the organizational hierarchy. So you are supposed to provide leadership, negotiate, and manage conflicts with operational level employees. And at the same time, you have to report to board members. So there is some decision-making element at this stage at the managerial level. So as a finance manager, you are supposed to tackle both these elements. Therefore, a high level of application and practical thinking is expected at this stage. So if you have completed your OCS exam, you know for a fact that 80% of the questions were intended to test your theory knowledge. You were not supposed to arrive at decisions. Instead, you were not supposed to play the role of a decision maker. Instead, you were supposed to assist decision makers. At the OCS stage, the only type of decisions were tied to suggesting KPIs or key performance indicators. But at this stage, as a finance manager, you are supposed to know your theory, and at the same time, you need to display to the marker of your paper about the fact that you are aware of application, you have an appropriate level of knowledge concerning application, and you are playing the role of a decision maker, hence the term manager, finance manager. So theories are tested. 50% of the questions are intended to test your theory knowledge, and 50% of questions are intended to test your practical decision making or application skills. So you have to be conversant with all syllabus areas covered under E2, F2, and P2 syllabi. And at the same time, you should have the capability to apply these conceptual elements when developing your recommendations or when conducting evaluations. So that's your role. Then let's dive deeper to gain an understanding about how your knowledge is tested via this case study exam. So information is provided about a fictitious company in advance via something called a pre-scene document. So let's try to figure out what this pre-scene, this time's pre-scene is all about. So let's look at the structure. Since the same pre-scene is applicable to both November 2025 and February 2026 sittings, I'm pretty sure you would have gone through this document by now. So if you look at how this entire document is structured, there's an introduction which gives you an indication of what your company is up to, and there's an indication of what happens within your chosen industry, the type of vendors and whatnot, what personal computers are. All these things are defined because, as I mentioned earlier, as a finance manager, you need to know what happens within your industry. So that's why some information concerning the industry dynamics are shared with you. You are playing the role of a decision maker. So as a decision maker, you need to think about what happens within the industry. If you're clueless about the industry, you're not going to come up with the best type of decisions. And also, a majority of the attention is provided towards the internal dynamics of your chosen company. So you're not supposed to play the role of a board member at this stage. Instead, you are a finance manager. And as I mentioned earlier, you are involved with some type of decision making. However, mostly it's all about providing leadership to operational level employees. So if you are to provide appropriate leadership, you need to have a good understanding of what happens within each and every department within your chosen company. So that's why there's a clear indication of how the board is structured. So your knowledge concerning corporate governance will be tested, and there's an indication of the business model of your chosen company, because when we intend to do something new, for instance, when we opt for some type of a diversification, this business model will change. So as a finance manager, you should have a good understanding about the current business model, and due to us being innovative or trying to do something new, how this business model is going to change in the future. And also there are some extracts from your annual report, and also there's an indication about how we view sustainability, or how we try to achieve real sustainability within our company. And most importantly, towards the very end of your pre-scene document, there are news reports, and these news reports give us hints about the type of scenarios which can be thrown at you at your exam. So if you look at past exam variants, you would have seen that the examiner has a tendency to develop 6 different papers or 6 different variants. And when deciding the theme of each variant, the examiner has a tendency to consider what's highlighted within the news reports. So on your own, you cannot figure out how these news reports and related information, or the information contained within these news reports, can be utilized when it comes to developing papers. However, you need not worry about these elements, because we at TCS, we have developed 6 papers just like what the examiner does. We have developed 6 papers, and when developing each of these papers, we have considered the themes or scenarios highlighted within each news article. And also there's an extract from the FAQ section of our website is shared with you, so that you'd gain a better understanding of how we operate as a company. So this is how your pre-scene is structured. And towards the very end of today's webinar, I'm going to conduct a general pre-scene analysis in a nutshell. Then you will understand how what type of information is contained within this document, and how we should approach this pre-scene document. All right, so your knowledge is information is provided about a fictitious company which operates in a fictitious industry via a pre-scene document. And in the exam, you are required to address issues or questions relating to the managerial aspects of the company. So you are playing the role of a finance manager. I said that you are located within the middle level of your organization. So your knowledge concerning management elements will be tested at the exam. So via each of these scenarios and questions, the examiner intends to test whether you have a good knowledge about the company and the industry. Because as I mentioned earlier, the examiner is trying to replicate a real-life corporate environment. So think in a practical manner. Just assume that you are really working for this company. You are really working within this industry, just like how you operate in a normal office. So at office, when carrying out your job role, you need to have a good understanding of what happens within your company, as well as what happens within the industry, if you are to conduct your operations in the most successful manner as a finance manager. So that is why a pre-scene is shared with you, or a case study is shared with you. If you are to do your job properly as a finance manager, you are supposed to have a good understanding about the internals and externals of Ressett. That's why it's essential that you gain an in-depth understanding of what's highlighted within your pre-scene document. You need not worry about these elements. You need not try and conduct your own research and try to analyze the pre-scene, because we have done it for you via the pre-scene analysis videos and via the annotated pre-scene. I'm going to talk about these things in a little while. And also, on top of this, the examiner is testing whether you have learned what's highlighted within each pillar. namely E2, P2, and F2. So your E2, F2, and P2 knowledge is tested in a practical manner. So just knowing theory won't help. You need to have a good understanding of how to apply each conceptual element, considering what's highlighted within each and every scenario. And at the same time, when it comes to developing answers, you need to have a sound understanding of what happens within your company and what happens within your industry. Because if you're clueless of the internals and externals of Ressett, you will suggest recommendations which are not aligned with the way in which the business is run currently. If so, you will be kicked out of the business, and at this exam you will end up failing the MCS exam. So let me quickly, before I move on, let me quickly explain what is highlighted within E2, P2, and F2 syllabi, or what you have to be, which conceptual elements you have to be conversant with in order to pass this exam comfortably. So we have developed a syllabus coverage document which can be downloaded via the student dashboard. So if you look at it, first things first, advanced management accounting principles. So what's highlighted within P2 will be tested at the exam. So as a finance manager, I mentioned the fact that you should be involved with decision making. So capital investment decisions, knowledge concerning capital investment decision making or investment decision making will be tested at the exam. So you have to be conversant with various different investment appraisal approaches such as NPV, IRR, payback periods, and real options. And you have to also be conversant with pricing strategies, both cost-based pricing as well as market-based pricing strategies. And also, as a finance manager, you are supposed to manage and control performance, because as I mentioned earlier, you are supposed to keep tabs about the performance of operational level employees. So your knowledge concerning various different responsibility centers such as cost centers, revenue centers, profit centers, and investment centers will be tested at your exam. A scenario will highlight some type of an SBU. Your role is to explain whether, as per the scenario's information, whether a certain SBU should be considered as a cost center, revenue center, profit center, or an investment center. And also your knowledge concerning performance measurement will be tested. So be prepared to suggest KPIs, be prepared to measure performance of the entire organization utilizing tools such as the balanced scorecard, as well as 3 different types of benchmarking. And also your knowledge concerning transfer pricing, especially when you are dealing with subsidiaries and branches, could be local or international, will be tested at the exam. And also, as a finance manager, you are supposed to manage costs. And when doing so, you should have an understanding of how we can create value. So your knowledge concerning activity-based management, cost transformation techniques such as the CGMA cost transformation model, target costing, product profitability analysis, life cycle costing, business process re-engineering, value chain analysis, total quality management, Kaizen, quality cycles, costs of quality, all these elements which are intended to manage costs and at the same time create value will be tested at the exam. And as a finance manager, you should have the capability of identifying and suggesting mitigatory strategies to manage risks, and at the same time to prevent any type of issue from recurring in the future. You are supposed to suggest, you should have the capability to suggest controls as well. So various different business risks and mitigation related knowledge will be tested at the exam, such as financial risks, operational, product, reputational, legal, technological, and contractual inadequacy risk. And also in terms of how to conduct sensitivity analysis, how to conduct a scenario planning exercise, and how to stress test our budgets as well as our plans will be tested at your examination. And also directing your attention towards your F2 syllabus. First things first, how to finance capital projects will be tested at the exam. So your knowledge concerning sources of finance, concerning equity and debt funding will be tested, along with the weighted average cost of capital, or the WACC. And you should also have a good understanding of how to deal with group accounts, how to deal with financial reporting concerning subsidiaries, how to compute goodwill, the non-controlling interest, and how to deal with fair value adjustments. and how to account for joint ventures and associates. This is a heavily tested area in each session. And also your knowledge concerning integrated reporting is tested, especially in this day and age. Companies should not only look at financial performance, they have to look at non-financial performance as well. That is why, and especially given the fact that we believe in sustainability, since we have already developed a sustainability report, definitely integrated reporting will be tested at this time's exam. And also you should have the ability to analyze financial statements. So your knowledge concerning various different ratios will be tested. So you have to have a good understanding of the existing ratios of your chosen company, and also have an understanding of how each of these ratios should be compared with the financial ratios or financial performance of your closest competitor. I'm going to take you through the financial analysis slides in a little while, then you will understand what I'm talking about. So you should have the capability to carry out computations concerning profitability, liquidity, activity, as well as the capital structure of your chosen company. And as I mentioned previously, your knowledge concerning financial reporting standards, various different IASs and IFRSs will be tested at the exam. You have to be conversant with each of these IASs and IFRSs. You might think that it's going to be tough, but don't worry. We have covered all these elements within the mocks which we have developed. So after attempting each mock exam, when you spend time to conduct your own revision, then you can easily figure out how to approach each type of IFRS and IAS. And also concerning your E2 syllabus, performance management will be tested. So you have to, as I mentioned earlier, you have to have a good understanding about the existing business model and whether we are poised to generate value, utilizing the existing business model. And when we are trying to do something new, the business model is going to change. The way in which we generate value is going to change. So you should have the capability to compare between the current and a new business model at your examination. And you have to have a good understanding of various different business ecosystems, how disruptive technology is going to impact value creation initiatives and internal dynamics of our company, and how to deal with data, how to analyze data to create value within the organization. And also your knowledge concerning project management will be tested. So you have to be conversant with all 5 elements of the project life cycle, the type of project constraints, project management tools, as well as the various different types of project stakeholders and how to manage each of these stakeholders. And as a finance manager, you are supposed to manage people, especially those who are at the operational level. So your knowledge concerning leadership, negotiation skills, conflict resolution, ensuring health and safety, how to conduct disciplinary action in the most effective manner, how to manage teams, how to communicate, especially between both operational and strategic level individuals within your organization, how to motivate individuals, and the differences between responsibility, authority, and delegation. All these things will be tested at your exam. So this is a vast syllabus. I agree with you. However, you need not worry. We have covered all these elements within the 6 mocks which we have developed and shared with you already. Okay, then let's direct our attention towards the to-do list. So first things first, you have to start your preparations by getting conversant with the pre-scene document. So you have to read the annotated pre-scene and then watch the 3 pre-scene analysis videos. So after watching these pre-scene analysis videos, you will gain an in-depth understanding of what happens within your industry, what happens within your company, and what appears within the financial statements of your chosen company and its closest competitor. So as I mentioned earlier, you need not try and conduct your own research or try to evaluate the entire pre-scene. It's going to be extremely tough because there's hordes and hordes of unnecessary information within the pre-scene document. So simply refer to the annotated pre-scene which we have developed and watch the pre-scene analysis videos. Then you will gain an in-depth understanding of the most important points highlighted within your pre-scene document. So once you have mastered the pre-scene, then you should direct your attention towards practicing exam standard mock exams. So as I mentioned previously, the examiner develops 6 different variants, 6 different papers, with the prime intention of covering all syllabus areas. So I took you through all syllabus areas. I said that this is a vast syllabus. So the examiner cannot cover all syllabus areas by developing just 2 or 3 papers. That is why the examiner develops 6 different variants or 6 papers. So replicating the same methodology to ensure that all syllabus areas are covered, to ensure that each of the themes highlighted within your pre-scene as part of the news articles are covered, we at TCS, we have developed 6 exam standard mock exams as well. And these mocks are 100% aligned with the current pre-scene. And you have to practice all 6 mock exams under exam conditions. You will understand how to do this and the benefit of doing so at next week's webinar when I teach you answering and time management techniques. Also, make sure to attend the live webinars and workshops which are conducted on a weekly basis, because in each webinar I'm sharing some technical details with you which are extremely important to pass this exam. And at the same time, in each of the workshops, I'm going to teach you how to tackle questions tied to your F2, P2, and E2 syllabi. And also refer to a set of slides as well, such as the industry analysis and financial analysis slides. Let me quickly show you what these resources look like. So our industry analysis slides are divided into 4 main elements. In the first part, we have defined your industry so that you'd gain an in-depth understanding of what this times pre-scene or this times industry rather is all about. And we have also indicated industry trends and challenges and opportunities faced by typical players within your industry. Based on these information, scenarios will be thrown at you at your real exam. And at the very end, considering a real life company which operates in a typical industry, we have explained what a real life company goes through or what they practice when operating in a successful manner within your chosen industry. And similarly, we have evaluated the financial statements. So we have evaluated the statement of profit and loss of your chosen company. And we have made sure to keep our evaluation simple so that you can easily understand what is contained within the statement of profit and loss. So similarly, we have evaluated the SOFP or the statement of financial position as well. And also, I said that it's essential that you have a good understanding about the ratios. So we have computed the ratios of both your company Ressett as well as its closest competitor Fix-Up. And, in each slide, we have evaluated the differences between the financial performance of both the companies so that you'd gain an in-depth understanding of the financial standing of your chosen company against its closest competitor. So you have to go through these resources. And at the same time, we have developed a set of slides which indicate the top 10 likely issues. These slides indicate the most probable scenarios and syllabus areas which can be tested at the exam. And after attempting each mock exam, if you feel that you need to brush up your knowledge concerning each syllabus area covered within each mock exam, do not waste time to go through your old notes or bulky study texts. Simply refer to the theory recaps which we have developed, which with these resources are intended to teach you knowledge in a jiffy, and you will easily understand these things because we have come up with summaries concerning each syllabus area concerning our theory recaps. And also, you are supposed to watch 20 pre-recorded masterclasses, especially if you are coming through the exemption routes or if you have failed the exam previously. So the objective of developing these masterclasses is to explain the answers of each of the mocks which we have developed, because the best way to learn theory and application is to learn based on mock exams, because most students learn theory in isolation and they have to on their own figure out application, which is going to be a tough affair, especially if you are coming through an exemption route. So the best way to learn theory and improve application is to simply watch these masterclasses which are based on each of the mock exams which we have developed. So when you watch these masterclasses, we are explaining the logic behind each answer And at the same time, we are teaching you the conceptual elements or theoretical elements covered within each section of our mock exams, and also teaching you application. And also you are supposed to refer to answer plans of all mock exams which we have developed. You saw what an answer plan looks like. These answer plans will ensure that you understand the logic behind each answer easily. And at the same time, this is a resource which will assist with your revision, because when it comes to revision, your job is to try and redevelop these answer plans after going through TCS's answer plans. When you do so, you are working on improving the logic as well as quality of your answers. So I'm going to explain how to do these things in a practical manner in next week's webinar. And also we offer personalized tutor feedback focused on mock number 4. So let me quickly show you the type of feedback on offer. So as you can see, we have evaluated each and every point with the intention of highlighting your shortcomings, because the objective of opting for tutor feedback is to understand your shortcomings, because when you understand shortcomings, when conducting revisions, you can take steps to overcome these shortcomings. If not, you are going to repeat the same mistakes at your real exam. And if there are a lot of mistakes, you are going to fail your examination. So this is the type of feedback on offer at TCS. And at the very end, we share general comments with you. And we also indicate mark allocations on a subtask by subtask basis. Not just the mark allocations, we indicate a success rate as well. And by looking at the yellow highlighted areas, you can easily understand the subtasks in which your performance was substandard. And after receiving tutor feedback, when conducting revision, your job is to redevelop answer plans focused on subtasks which are highlighted in yellow. All right, so that's a type of feedback on offer. So you have to go through tutor feedback to understand your shortcomings. So there's a lot in this to-do list. Yes, I agree with you, but don't worry. We have developed a study plan which makes your life easy because we are effectively pacing out studies across a number of weeks. And if you stick to our study plan, you just need to dedicate 8 to 9 hours of study time per week. And, out of these 8 to 9 hours, your real job is to attempt the weekly mock exam, which is going to take 3 hours of your time. And then, conduct revision, which is going to take 2 hours. So your real effort comprises of just 5 hours of work per week. Everything else is handled by us. So you will understand what I'm talking about in a little while when I take you through the study plan. So before I direct your attention towards the study plan, let me quickly tell you what we offer at TCS. So I'm on the MCS page. If you're yet to create a free user account, click on this button and create one. Once you have created a free account, you'd gain access to our student dashboard. So click on this button and click on My Courses. In front of MCS Free, you'd see an Access Content button. Click on it, and via our student dashboard under the free content, you'd gain access to the recordings of weekly webinars and workshops we conduct. And under the study materials tab, you will gain access to the answer plan of mock exam 1, the pre-seen mind map, as well as the syllabus coverage document. And under the mocks tab, you'd gain access to the questions and suggested answers of MCS mock exam 1. And under the exams tab, you have the opportunity of attempting mock number 1 under exam conditions via TCS's exam platform in its entirety. So you have access to the entire paper, which can be attempted under exam conditions via TCS's exam platform. And TCS's exam platform is the exact replica of the Pearson VUE system on which you'd attempt your real examination. So don't attempt mock number 1 as yet. Wait until I teach you answering and time management techniques next week. And once you have learned these things, practice these techniques when attempting mock number 1 under exam conditions via our exam platform. So all these resources are provided under the free courses. And if you are interested in investing on paid content, click on this button and check our sample material before you do so. And also, I invite you to join our MCS WhatsApp discussion group by clicking on this button. And via this group, we are sharing hordes of free resources with you. And on top of that, we will keep you guys informed of the commencement dates and times of our weekly webinars and workshops. Also, most importantly, if you have any questions, you can get them addressed instantaneously via this WhatsApp group. All right. So having said that, let me tell you about what we offer at TCS. So we offer two packages, the essential course and the premium course. The essential course is designed for those who have completed their OTQ exams or those who are coming through the general route. So since you have completed your OTQs, as I mentioned earlier, you have learned your theory already. So since you have learned your theory, it's simply a matter of improving your application skills when conducting preparations. All right, folks. So via the essential course, you have access to the recordings of all webinars and workshops which are conducted on a weekly basis. And also you would gain access to the 6 mock exams with suggested answers. As I mentioned earlier, we have made sure to cover all syllabus areas via these 6 mocks, and each of these mocks are aligned 100% with the pre-scene and what's highlighted within the news articles of the pre-scene. And also you'd gain access to the pre-scene analysis videos, the annotated pre-scene, industry and financial analysis slides, and the top 10 likely issue slides. I explained what is contained within each of these resources previously. You will also gain access to a case study familiarization kit. Once you have gone through this kit in a jiffy, you are in a position to gain an in-depth understanding about the technicalities behind the MCS exam. You will also gain access to a tutor-managed live chat and OTQ revision cards. So as I mentioned earlier, the essential course is intended for those who are coming through the general route or those who have already learned their theory. So after attempting each mock exam, if you feel that you need to brush up your knowledge or you had forgotten a certain conceptual element, don't waste time. Simply refer to our OTQ revision cards to brush up your knowledge instantaneously. So the essential course is priced at £249. And talking about the premium course, this is designed for students who are coming through the exemption routes and those who had failed the MCS exam previously. So both these sets of students have the same problem. There are gaps in theory knowledge and issues with application. So with the intention of teaching you theory and teaching you application skills, we have included some additional resources under the premium course on top of what you'd gain access to under the essential course. So via premium, you'd gain access to the online mock exam platform via which you can attempt all 6 mock exams under exam conditions, which is the best way to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. Also, you will gain access to the answer plans of all 6 mock exams. As I mentioned earlier, this is the easiest way to conduct your revision when you have access to answer plans, because if you look at other service providers, you will gain access to the mock exams and suggested answers. However, we have developed answer plans as well, because when you have to go through pages and pages of suggested answers, you are not in a position to figure out the logic behind each answer and figure out the type of points which you should include. You cannot easily figure out the structure of each answer. So in order to assist you with understanding the logic behind each answer, we have developed these answer plans focused on each of the mocks which we are sharing with you. And also you gain access to the 20 masterclasses. As I mentioned earlier, via these masterclasses, we are explaining the logic behind each answer contained within each section of our mock exams, whilst teaching you the theoretical concepts covered within each section and application skills. Also, you receive tutor feedback on mock number 4. And if you want, you can opt for on-demand tutor feedback as well. You can opt for additional tutor feedback at £50 per mock exam. All right. So you can opt for tutor feedback for mocks 5 and 6 as well at £50 per mock exam. So the premium course is priced at £699, which can be paid in 2 installments of £349 each, or you can opt to pay in full. If so, you will save £100. Therefore, the price is going to be just £599. So you can invest on your preferred course by clicking on either of these buttons. And all products are available until the 28th of February 2026, because in May, you will get your hands on a totally new pre-scene document. Okay, and having said that, let's move towards the MCS study plan, which can be accessed via the same web page. So let's look at what you are supposed to achieve on a weekly basis. So we missed week number 1 because I couldn't conduct this webinar last week. However, in week number 1, it was simply a matter of referring to the OTQ theory recaps and referring to the MCS familiarization kit. So you can do these 2 activities within this week as well. You need not really worry about the OTQ theory recaps because, as I mentioned earlier, when developing the 6 mocks, we have made sure to cover all syllabus areas. So you can learn via the mock exams as well. You need not learn theory on your own in isolation. So this week is dedicated towards the pre-scene or understanding the pre-scene document. So as I mentioned earlier, you have access to the pre-scene analysis videos via the paid content. So please go watch these videos. Don't try to evaluate the pre-scene on your own. It's going to be mundane, as well as it's going to expose you to a lot of complexities. You are going to be distracted by all the information. So it's essential that you start your preparations by watching our pre-scene analysis videos. And after you are done with these videos, refer to the annotated pre-scene on your own, thereby revising your knowledge, and refer to the industry and financial analysis slides, thereby further revising your knowledge about the industry and what is contained within the financial statements of your chosen company and its closest competitor. So within this week, you are supposed to dedicate something like 8 hours of study time. And I hope you will stick to this study plan. And therefore, before attending next week's webinar, you will master the pre-scene document. And in week number 3, or the week after next, you are supposed to attend the 3rd webinar to learn crucial answering and time management techniques. After learning these 2 techniques, you are supposed to attempt mocks 1 and 2 under exam conditions via our exam platform. So you can see that there is a 2-week gap between webinars 3 and 4. So webinar 3 is happening on the 14th of December, whereas webinar 4 is happening on the 4th of January. So these 2 weeks, I've given a break, given the fact that everybody is busy in this festive season because Christmas is coming up. That does not mean that you should stop your preparations. Within these 2 weeks, try to attempt mocks 1 and 2 under exam conditions. When doing so, your objective is not to develop the best answers. Instead, your job is to practice answering and time management techniques, which you are going to learn next Sunday. And after you have practiced these 2 techniques, you can easily learn or gain the appropriate level of knowledge and significantly improve your application skills by watching the 4 masterclasses which we have developed focus on mock number 2. As I mentioned earlier, each paper is divided into 4 sections. So focused on each section, we have developed masterclasses. So watch the masterclasses of mock number 2 to learn theory and significantly improve your application skills. Once you have learned theory and application, then test your understanding, test your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans on your own. So after watching masterclasses, you will gain the appropriate level of knowledge. Then go through the answer plans we have shared with you. Keep it aside. Try to redevelop the answer plans on your own. After you have redeveloped your answer plans, compare your fresh answer plans to TCS's to further improve your understanding about how you should structure your answers. You will then also realize what your shortcomings are. When you understand your shortcomings, as I mentioned earlier, you can take steps to avoid them when conducting your revision. So that's how you should approach each paper. So you have something like 2 or 2.5 weeks between the 3rd and 4th webinar. Make full use of it and attempt each mock under exam conditions and conduct revision by watching masterclasses and redeveloping answer plans. And once you're done with these 2 elements in the 4th week, I'm going to teach you stress management techniques. So after this 4th webinar, whenever you are attempting a mock exam, you are supposed to practice all 3 techniques: answering, time management, and stress management, because all these 3 techniques will be tested at your exam. So attempt mock number 3 via the exam platform. As I mentioned earlier, the objective is to practice your answering, time management and stress management techniques under exam conditions. After doing so, watch the master classes. Then you will realize how you should have structured your answers, what you should have included within your answers, how to approach each conceptual element, how to deal with application. All these things can be easily understood by watching these master classes. After understanding these elements, then on your own conduct your revision, which is by redeveloping answer plans on your own. And after you have redeveloped answer plans, compare your fresh answer plans to TCS's. So on a weekly basis from week 4 onwards, it's simply a matter of dedicating 9 hours of study time, out of which your real job is to attempt the weekly mock exam, which is going to take 3 hours of your time, and redevelop answer plans, which is going to take 2 hours of your time. So your real work is just 5 hours of work on a weekly basis. Everything else is handled by us, because we are not asking you to develop study summaries or answer plans. We have already shared them with you. We are not asking you to figure out the logic behind each answer, figure out conceptual elements and application. We have already covered them via the master classes. So your job is simple. It simply comes down to attempting a weekly mock exam, watching the master classes to learn theory and application, and then redeveloping answer plans to figure out whether you are capable of replicating TCS's answer plans. Because if you can structure your answers which are akin to TCS's, then you are going to get extremely good marks at your real examination. So similarly, in week number 5, you are supposed to master mock number 4, and week 6, mock number 5, and week 7, mock number 6. And when you stick to the study plan, in the final week, which is week number 8, which is your exam week, you are supposed to relax. You are not supposed to attempt any mock exams, redevelop answer plans, watch master classes. All these things should be covered before the exam week. And as per our study plan, in the final week, you are supposed to simply refer to the answer plans of all 6 mock exams. When you are doing so, it's as if you are going through the entire syllabus one last time. And at the same time, you are supposed to reread the annotated pre-scene to remind yourself of the most important points highlighted within the pre-scene. And it's prudent to stop preparations a day or 2 prior to the exam, sleep, eat, and rest well. So I want you guys to be successful at the exam. If you are to be successful, you have to be relaxed before the exam. If you are calm and composed before the exam, both mentally and physically, you are going to be calm and composed at your real exam. Because at the real exam, you are supposed to play the role of a finance manager. So if you are to become a successful finance manager, you have to be involved with rational decision making. So if you are to be rational, you have to achieve a higher level of positivity and open-mindedness before your exam. So that is why I want you guys to start relaxing in the final week leading up to the examination. That is why I want you guys to stop all work, preferably 2 days before the exam. So if your exam is on Wednesday, at least by Monday, you have to stop all your work. Take Tuesday off, relax, spend time with your loved ones, be involved with leisure activities, and simply walk into the exam with an open mind. Because as I mentioned so many times within this webinar, the examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment. So it's as if you are walking into office on a Monday. So if you have to function properly on a Monday, you have to be well rested towards Saturday and Sunday. If not, if you were stressed during the weekend, if you didn't sleep properly, if you were up till late, if you didn't have your meals on time, then you are not in a position to function properly on a Monday. You are going to fall asleep. You'd be exposed to extreme levels of stress and fatigue, and this will, unduly expose you to complexities at office. So since the examiner tries to replicate a real life corporate environment, you have to think in a practical manner. So if you have to come up with the best type of decisions, conduct the best type of evaluations, you have to think in a rational manner. If you are to be rational, you have to be open-minded, calm, and composed. That's why I want you guys to stop all work a day or 2 prior to the exam. So you might think that I'm stupid for you to ask to stop work a day or two before the exam. I can remember as a student, I did the same mistake. I have, used to, on the day of the exam, go through mock exams. I tried to attempt mocks on the day of the exam as well. And I was stressed. And at the examination center, there was a tendency to have discussions with colleagues or fellow students to figure out what can be tested, how their preparations have spanned out. All these things were discussed on the day of the exam, right before the exam. So I walked into the exam with a high levels of stress, and this did not help me at the examination, because, as I mentioned earlier, when you are stressed before the exam, you are definitely going to be stressed during the exam. So I want you guys to be relaxed, given the fact that if you stick to the study plan, you are taking steps to master each mock exam on a weekly basis. You are not just attempting each mock under exam conditions, you are taking steps to revise your knowledge. So you are effectively making sure to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques when attempting each mock exam in each week. After doing so, you are watching the master classes to gain the appropriate level of knowledge concerning concepts and application. And you are not stopping there. You are expected to redevelop answer plans, thereby revising your knowledge once more. So when you have adhered to this type of a methodology spread across weeks of preparations, you need not worry about passing the exam, because you have improved your skill set, thereby improving your answering, time management, and stress management skills. And at the same time, you have improved your knowledge levels. You know how each syllabus area can be tested. You know how to deal with application and how to structure your answers. When you tackle these two elements, you need not worry about passing this exam. So even if you are well prepared, even after adhering to the study plan, in the final week, you will feel that you need to go through mock exams once more, attempt mocks or watch master classes and whatnot. Don't give in to these negative thoughts. Instead, simply refer to and stick to this study plan. By doing so, you can make sure to pass this exam comfortably once the results are out. So I hope and pray you will stick to this study plan. Although we teach you or we explain these study plans and whatnot, although we share these study plans with you, the majority of the students wait until the last moment, last 2 weeks to start preparations. Yes, you will have enough time to attempt all mock exams in the final 2 weeks. However, you won't have time to improve your knowledge by conducting revision. Just because you attempt all 6 mocks, you are not going to pass this exam, because, as I mentioned earlier, when attempting mocks, the objective of attempting mocks under exam conditions is to simply practice your technical elements, which are answering, time management, and stress management. And if you start towards the last 2 weeks, you won't have enough time to improve your knowledge base. If you don't have appropriate knowledge, you are never going to pass this exam. So that's why it's crucial that you start right now, stick to the study plan. If you do so, you have enough time to fine-tune your technical capabilities and at the same time knowledge levels. If so, you can start relaxing before the exam. If you are well relaxed during the exam, you are going to manage your stress levels in the most effective manner. So I hope and pray that you will stick to the study plan. And if you divert from the study plan, don't worry. Get in touch with me or our co-tutor Jared via the WhatsApp group. We will share revised study plans with you. So after this session, I'm going to share the link to the study plan via the WhatsApp group. And in the upcoming weeks, if you feel that you need access to a revised study plan, don't worry. Get in touch with us. We are always there to help you guys out. All right. So when all other students are scrambling for time, when all other students are trying to do everything under the sun, attempting mock exams, going through suggested answers, developing answer plans on your own, you will be relaxing. Therefore, you are going to get extremely good marks at your exam. You are going to stand out, given the fact that you are not adhering to the same practices practiced or exercised by all other students out there. Okay, so that's our 8-week study plan, and you have to be conversant about the important dates as well. Exam entry closes on the 27th of January 2026, which is a Tuesday. So if you're planning on sitting for MCS exams happening in Feb, you have to book your place before the 27th of Jan. However, if you have already decided to sit in Feb, don't wait until this deadline, because when you do so, especially given the fact that the syllabus is going to change in May 2026, so many students are going to do this exam this time. So if you wait until the last moment, slots might run out. If so, you are not in a position to, however much prepared you are not in a position to attempt the exam in Feb. So all your effort will be in vain if you do not have a time slot, if you cannot find a time slot. Even if there are available time slots, they will be at ungodly hours such as 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., which is not the best time to attempt a paper. So in order to avoid all disappointments, if you have already made up your mind to sit for exams happening in Feb, book your exam right now. And if you book your exam right now, you will definitely stick to the study plan, because there's a commitment which you have made. So when you book your exam, you know for a fact that there's no other option but to attempt this exam this time. When this is the case, automatically you will force yourself to stick to our study plan. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are capable of sitting for the exams happening in Feb, do it this time. Don't wait until May 2026, because the syllabus is going to change from May 2026. And the exam dates are from the 11th of February to the 13th of February 2026. All right, so I've already shared the study plan with you. Having said that, I'm going to move to the pre-scene analysis. So I'm going to take you through the pre-scene document. I'm not going to take you through all these elements. I'm not going to conduct an industry analysis, because I've already covered these elements in the pre-scene analysis videos. And as I mentioned earlier, I will be sharing the recorded version of this the pre-scene analysis webinar, which I conducted last month in November. It's the same pre-scene. So, by watching the video which we conducted in November, you will gain a good understanding of how to approach this times pre-scene. So I want to simply direct your attention towards the internal dynamics of your chosen company, Ressett. So as you can see, we have come up with tutor notations with the prime intention of summarizing the entire pre-scene and highlighting the most important points. There's a lot of jargon in here or unnecessary information. So in order to make your life easy, we have summarized the entire pre-scene via these tutor notations. And at the same time, another objective is to make sure that we can conduct evaluations concerning pre-scene info and predict what type of scenarios can be tested at the exam. And tied to these scenario predictions, we can easily determine what type of syllabus areas can be tested. And we have considered these syllabus elements and scenarios when developing our 6 mock exams. So Ressett is a company which was founded in 1986. So we have operated within this industry for 39 years. And currently, we are a reseller of new and used PCs, peripherals, and consumables. So what you need to understand is the fact that Ressett is a reseller of new and used PCs. That's our main business. On top of that, we are selling peripherals and various different consumables as well. And we are not selling any other products at the moment, which indicates the fact that there could be a situation or a scenario at your exam in which we are pursuing some type of related or unrelated diversification. It's usually going to be some type of related diversification. So we might start selling some new product category in the future. And also, we are selling everything via our website, and operations are handled by a single sale and fulfillment center, which is located in Mid-City. So once someone places an order via our website, the product packaging and logistics, all these things, as well as transportation to the relevant customers are handled by the sales and fulfillment center, which is located in Mid-City. And there are a total of 350 staff members within our company. And looking at our departments, there are 4 main departments within our organization. There's a buying department, a sales department, inventory management department, and an admin department. Since we are looking into multiple angles or multiple elements when running this business, your knowledge concerning balanced scorecard will definitely be tested this time. And let's try to understand what happens within the buying department. I'm not going to go into nitty-gritties in depth. I'm simply going to take you through the entire pre-scene in a jiffy. So the buying department is engaged with or they are supposed to engage with or negotiate with manufacturers and large retailers from whom we purchase used or new PCs, peripherals, and whatnot. So purchase inventories, we purchase inventories which are to be withdrawn from sales mainly from these manufacturers and large retailers. Also, the buying department has contacts with corporate IT managers as well, because we purchase good quality used PCs and peripherals from various different corporates within our country. So what you need to understand is the fact that we purchase from 2 main types of sellers. Number one is the fact that we are purchasing mainly new PCs from manufacturers and large retailers, and we are purchasing used PCs from corporate IT managers or from the corporate sector, because whenever a company wants to improve or upgrade their existing computers or peripherals, they end up selling it in the second-hand market. So that's exactly where we come in. We purchase used PCs and peripherals from these corporate managers. And our buying approach is to aim for bulk purchases, because when we opt for bulk purchases, we get a lot of discounts, which will impact our margins positively. And we always try to negotiate discounted prices, and we try to ensure that we hold on to sufficient stocks of our products, especially when we are selling online. We are not in a position to easily predict the uptake or the demand for each product category. We can do so, but we are not in a position to accurately predict what is going to happen in the future. Therefore, it's essential that we hold on to sufficient levels of stocks, and we have to ensure that our prices are attractive. That is why we opt for bulk purchasing, because when we opt for bulk purchasing, we will benefit from bulk purchase discounts, and the benefit of these cost reductions can be passed down to end consumers via reduced prices. And also, the buying department is supposed to coordinate with the inventory department. I'm going to talk about what the inventory management department is up to. So inventory department informs the buying department of problems with incoming goods. Let's assume that we purchase a set of computers from a set of corporate IT managers, and once we have purchased them, our inventory management department figures out that the quality of these computers or peripherals are not up to the required level of standard. So it is up to the inventory management department to inform the buying department about the problems with incoming goods, and the buying department returns seriously damaged items to sellers or seek discounts, further discounts for them. So the buying department is involved with purchasing, and at the same time, as and when necessary, the buying department is supposed to return their products or seek better discounts if the computers and peripherals are of substandard quality. So this indicates the fact that there will be conflicts between the buying department and the inventory management department. And on top of that, there will be conflicts between the buying department and various different IT managers from whom we purchase these used PCs, as well as we might be purchasing used PCs and peripherals from manufacturers and large retailers. So as I mentioned earlier, conflict management is highlighted within your E2 syllabus. That's one of your prime responsibilities. So be prepared to address conflicts between the buying department, large retailers, manufacturers, and corporate managers, as well as managing conflicts between the buying department and the inventory management department. And information concerning staff profile and customer behavior is highlighted. I've already covered them previously. So watch the pre-scene analysis video, the recording, which I'm going to share with you after this session to gain an in-depth understanding of all these elements. So possible exam scenarios tied to all this information is with regards to disputes with sellers over damaged items, as I mentioned earlier, disputes between the inventory management department and the buying department, and inventory over or under stock situations. So tied to these scenarios, the examinable syllabus areas are tied to managing operational risks, managing the business ecosystem, especially when we are experiencing some type of related diversification, or when we're trying to do something new, negotiating between various different stakeholders, managing or resolving conflicts, providing appropriate leadership when it comes to negotiations, communication, as well as conflict resolution, and your knowledge concerning communication capabilities will also be tested at your exam. And then let's try to understand what happens within the sales department. They are involved with managing the website, dealing with customer orders, and carrying out call center operations, because customers can get in touch with our call center as and when necessary. When they need some type of support, they can get in touch with our call center. So all these elements fall under the purview of the sales department. And most of our sales staff have a good level of technical knowledge about IT equipment. So possible exam scenarios which can be tested is with regards to website or cybersecurity issues, given the fact that we drive sales via our website. So we might be exposed to cybersecurity issues. And also there could be a scenario in which the company intends to upgrade the existing website or introduce a new app with the intention of driving sales in the future, with the intention of standing out from competition. And also issues tied to the type of information, the credibility of information which appears within our website, and also inconsistent tech advice provided by call center staff members, given the fact that they are not too conversant about some technical change or some type of technological change which has occurred within the market. These type of issues can be tested at your examination. So tied to all this information, your knowledge concerning various different risks, managing various different risks such as technology, legal, and reputational risks will be tested. Measuring performance of various different employees who are working within our company, managing various different teams, managing projects, as well as your knowledge concerning IAS 38 intangible assets will also be tested at the exam, especially if we try to develop a new website, and if it drives competitive edge, if we try to develop a new app, and if it drives some type of competitive edge, it is going to be considered as an intangible asset. So IAS 38 can be tested at the examination. So looking at what the inventory department is up to, these folks are involved with preparing our products for sale. So as you can remember, we are purchasing used as well as new PCs. So before we sell these PCs to customers, especially when dealing with used PCs, we have to ensure that these PCs are the problems within these PCs are fixed. So preparing, especially the used computers and peripherals, is a prime responsibility of those who are working within the inventory department. And on top of that, they are supposed to seal the products, check whether these packagings are sealed appropriately. If the packaging is damaged, the product should be tested and repackaged for sale as an new product. So let's assume we purchase a new product from a local retailer, and after purchasing, we figure out that the packaging is damaged. If so, we are not in a position to resell this product as a new product. Instead, we must sell this product as an new product. So categorizing our products based on the quality and usability is a main responsibility of the inventory management department. And therefore, they are supposed to conduct quality checks, and refurbish these PCs and peripherals as and when needed. And also, as I mentioned earlier, these employees who are working within the inventory management department is supposed to coordinate with those who are purchasing these used computers and peripherals. And also they are supposed to manage warehouse operations as well. So tied to all this information, the possible exam scenarios which can be tested in terms of disputes with the inventory department, as I mentioned earlier, especially between disputes between the inventory department and the buying department. Also, there could be data wipeout related issues as well, because before we sell, especially used PCs, we have to wipe out the data, because there's customers who had previously used these PCs. There might be data which is private to these individuals. So if we do not erase these data sets, it might expose us to data privacy related issues in the future. The impacted customers will definitely sue us in the future. So data wipeout related issues can be tested at the exam, and refurbishment related issues, and the way in which we classify our products. There's a grading system. I've already spoken about these things in the previous pre-scene analysis video. As I mentioned earlier, I will share the recorded version, then you will understand how we classify products within this industry. So if there's some type of a classification related issue, then this will expose us to multiple issues in the future. So such scenarios can be tested, and some type of a problem with our inventory management system, or us trying to upgrade the inventory management system or implement a totally new system, can be tested at the exam. So tied to these possible exam scenarios, the examinable syllabus areas are tied to dealing with legal and reputational risks, as well as data protection and security risks, and costs of quality. So when we try to implement quality, there's a cost involved. So if we try to implement quality, we have to spend some money. And if we do not achieve quality, we have to again spend some money. We have to, we will be exposed to some additional and unnecessary costs in the future. So that is why your knowledge concerning cost of quality will be tested, how to resolve conflicts, and via business intelligence systems, how to gather appropriate data as well as knowledge about how we should run our business, project management, how to utilize project management as well as project management tools, as well as your knowledge concerning IAS 37 provisions, contingent liabilities, and contingent assets will be tested, especially if we are exposed to any type of legal issues, and if we are supposed to pay compensation in the future. And your knowledge concerning IAS 38 intangible assets, especially if we are going for a software upgrade or whatnot, will be tested at the exam. And looking at the admin department, they are involved with approving credit for B2B customers, given the fact that B2C customers pay instantaneously via the website. But when it comes to dealing with retailers, manufacturers, as well as corporate clients, there's B2B relationships. So we have to deal with these things via the administration department. And the admin department is also looking into bookkeeping and accounting, HRM, human resources management, as well as marketing. All right, so let's look at how our board is structured. We see a CEO, and under the CEO, there are 4 different directors looking at buying operations, marketing, operations, which includes inventory management, and finance management, which is handled by a finance director. So looking at, so these are the main directors or the executives of your company. On top of that, we can see some non-executive directors as well. So there are 5 executive directors and 4 non-executive directors, which exposes us to governance risk, because as per the combined code of corporate governance, there should be a good balance between executive directors and non-executive directors, because as you know, executive directors are supposed to manage affairs within the company, whereas the non-executive directors are there to represent shareholder interests within the board. So when there is an imbalance, when the executive directors are higher than non-executive directors, then the executive directors will have a higher level of power over the non-executive directors, which is not good for shareholder interests. So it's essential that we appoint this, that we have the same number of execs and non-executive directors to make sure that shareholder interests are represented within our board, so that corporate governance best practices are implemented within our company. And if you look at board responsibilities and how these responsibilities are allocated, there's no dedicated director for HR. There's 350 odd employees working within our company. When this is the case, it's essential that we have a separate HR director. And on top of that, HR and marketing come under the finance director, which should not be the case when you consider a real life company. So there's some type of inefficiency in the way in which we have structured the board. And your knowledge concerning, tied to all this information, your knowledge concerning IAS 24 related party disclosures will definitely be tested at your exam. This element has been tested previously, therefore it will be tested this time as well. And you have to have a good understanding of all 4 elements of the business model. We have covered all these elements, thereby explaining what is considered in each of the 4 components. And if there are any shortcomings, we have highlighted them as well. So this is a frequently tested area as well. So it's essential that you gain a good understanding of the existing business model. If not, you are not in a position to, whenever we are trying to do something new, you are supposed to explain how these changes are going to change the business model. So if you don't know your existing business model, you are not in a position to comment or evaluate about these changes to our business model when we are trying to do something new in the future. And also there's information about the financial statements. I showed you the financial analysis slides in which we have evaluated these financial statements in depth, thereby comparing the financial performance of your chosen company against its closest competitor. And also there's a sustainability report as well. And similar to the business model, we have evaluated each and every element of the sustainability report, thereby highlighting any shortcomings if there are, if these shortcomings are available. And also, so these are the financial statements of your closest competitor. All these elements are covered in the financial analysis slides. And I want to most importantly direct your attention towards the news reports, because as I mentioned earlier, these news reports give us an indication of what type of scenarios can be tested at the exam. So I'm not going to take you through all news reports. Instead, I'm going to direct your attention towards the first news report with the intention of highlighting how your knowledge can be tested at the examination. So this news article highlights a problem tied to this industry, which is the e-waste, which is termed as the e-waste problem. This is a term used for discarded electronic devices. So Ressett is a reseller. So as a reseller, we are actually trying to address this concern in an effective manner, because rather than these used or new pieces which were unsold, which remain unsold in store shelves, rather than sending them to landfill, we are making sure that we are reselling them to a separate set of customers. Although this is the case, what happens after these computers and peripherals are at the end of their useful life? Again, this will go to landfill. So this is a major problem which impacts our industry. Although we are reselling and therefore taking steps to extend the useful life of PCs and peripherals, still we are contributing towards this e-waste problem. And this is a growing problem, and a lot of toxic substances are emitted to the environment, which is harmful to humans as well as the environment. And recycling is possible, but it's difficult and expensive. Therefore, companies which are always looking for profits will end up simply discarding used PCs and peripherals. So tied to all this information, the possible exam scenarios which can be tested is in terms of the government introducing new regulations regarding e-waste disposal, if they come up with these new regulations, sorry, definitely we are going to be impacted negatively by them, given the fact that we totally depend on this business model, which is based on reselling computers. So as a reseller, so let's assume a manufacturer can wipe their hands saying that, okay, there were unsold stocks within our store shelves and we sold it to Ressett or a reseller such as Ressett. By saying so, they can say that we are adhering to these new regulations. However, we cannot wipe our hands like that, given the fact that we are at the very end of the sales chain. So as a reseller, definitely these types of new regulations will impact us adversely. So definitely this type of a scenario or a paper which is based on this premise or theme will be tested at the exam. And if you do not comply, we will be exposed to legal penalties and legal action. And this leads to negative publicity as well. So the examinable syllabus areas tied to these this type of a scenario is with regards to managing legal and reputational risks. And when a new law comes into play, we will have to change our internal dynamics and we are exposed to some additional set of risks in most instances. If so, we have to stress test our plans, stress test our budgets, not just our budgets, not just our financial plans. We have to stress test all our plans within the organization. So you should know how to stress test our plans. And on top of that, whenever we are facing some type of negative elements tied to regulatory changes, we have to provide appropriate leadership. And at the same time, your knowledge concerning communication, how to communicate with impacted parties, especially how to communicate with the government or regulators, will be tested. And your knowledge concerning integrated reporting will definitely be tested, given the fact that this has everything to do with safeguarding the environment. So these type of new laws are intended to safeguard the environment, and we have to look at non-financial performance measures, non-financial reporting when trying to comply with these new laws, which will definitely be tested at your exam. And also your knowledge concerning IAS 37 provisions, contingent liabilities, and contingent assets will be tested, given the fact that due to these changes, we might have to be exposed to some type of penalties. And if so, your knowledge concerning IAS 37 will be tested. So this is exactly what I wanted to highlight within this session. I had to complete everything extremely fast. That's why I didn't take you through the industry dynamics, but please watch the recorded version of the pre-scene analysis session or the second webinar which we conducted in November, which carries the same type of information, which is based on the same annotated pre-scene. And on top of that, if you have access to, or if you intend to purchase the essential or the premium course, you have access to the pre-scene analysis videos. Watch them to gain an in-depth understanding of what's highlighted within your pre-scene document. Additionally, we have already shared this pre-scene mind map with you. If you can download this via our student dashboard. If you don't have access to it right now, don't worry. I will share this via the WhatsApp group after this session. So if you can see, we have summarized the entire pre-scene via this document. So we have indicated the most important points concerning the market in which Ressett operates, the type of stakeholders which operate within this industry, the type of PC vendors, what they're up to, as well as I was talking about a reseller grading system. So all information is summarized in here, and the type of hardware and software components of which make up a PC, and what's highlighted within the news articles are highlighted in here, and what appears within the FAQ section of our website, as well as the history of Ressett and what happens within various different departments such as buying, sales, inventory, and admin departments, and information concerning the existing business model, what appears within the sustainability report, and financial statements of your chosen company. All these elements are covered within this document. So, get your hands on this document, go through it on a daily basis to keep yourselves reminded of the most important points highlighted within your pre-scene document. Okay, so that's what I wanted to highlight under a pre-scene analysis. And I'm happy to say that we achieved a 90% pass rate in the previous MCS sitting. So you can achieve a similar feat if you stick to our study plan. So this student ended up scoring 90 simply by conducting preparations in the final 2 weeks. That does not mean that you should wait until the final 2 weeks, because the student went through hell in the final 2 weeks to complete all mocks and conduct revision. So if this student achieved 90 marks simply by preparing in the final 2 weeks, just imagine what you can achieve if you start your preparations right now. So most students who end up purchasing, they stick to the study plan, and all students who stick to the study plan usually pass the MCS exam comfortably. So you can achieve a similar feat if you start your preparations right now. So having said that, I'm moving to the Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can switch on your mic and talk, or drop a message via the chat. Any questions, folks? All right, folks, thank you very much for those questions. I hope I addressed everything. So if you want to contact us, I think another question came through. My base currency is USD, becomes pretty expensive when I convert to pounds. Is there any provision for students like me to make the course cost less onerous? So Munjari, if you refer to the resources on offer, and on top of that, if you refer to the a number of mocks and the master classes and whatnot, and if you look at the price, it is extremely competitive looking at other resource providers in the market. Ours is the cheapest because no one else is sharing 6 mock exams focused on this exam. No one else is sharing master classes which are focused on the same mock exams, which are intended to explain the theory, the logic, and application concerning each mock exam. And you don't gain access to answer plans, and at the same time you do not receive the type of tutor feedback offered at TCS. So considering all these elements, our prices are the cheapest in the market. So therefore these are the best prices on offer. So if you opt for a full payment option, you can benefit from a £100 discount, as I mentioned earlier. So I hope I addressed your concern, Munjari. So as I was saying, if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com, and visit our website and click on the contact button and drop us a message. Our admin staff will get in touch with you via email during office hours, or if you want to email us, simply email us via info@study@tcs.com, or if you want instantaneous support, WhatsApp us on this number. And I urge you guys to follow us on our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops are uploaded to our YouTube handle. And via TikTok, you'd gain access to 6 videos, which is a good pre-scene mind map. So on a daily basis, for instance, on your way to office, keep watching these TikTok videos over and over to keep yourself constantly reminded of the most important points highlighted within the pre-scene. Also, I invite you guys to read our blog post, which can be accessed via our blog page, which is focused on Ressett, to gain a good understanding of what your company and your industry is all about in a jiffy. So the concluding thought is to approach MCS as an opportunity to learn rather than an exam to pass, because simply given the fact that your knowledge is tested in a practical manner. So in the upcoming weeks, your job is to significantly improve your application skills and theory knowledge, and at the same time, practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. If you combine both these 2 elements, you will significantly improve your skill set. If you take steps to improve your skill set, then you are well poised to do a job of a finance manager. So The objective of following CIMA exams is not just to learn concepts or theories. The objective is to significantly improve your performance levels, improve your decision-making capabilities and evaluation capabilities. So in order to achieve these things, simply stick to our study plan. If you do so, you will not see this as an exam which you are supposed to pass. Instead, you will see this as an opportunity to learn and improve your skill set. So thank you very much for joining this session. I hope to see you guys next week, next Sunday at 10 a.m. UK or 10 GMT, in which I'm going to teach you crucial answering and time management techniques. So within this week, as per our study plan, I hope you will go through all pre-sin related information, pre-sin analysis videos, the industry analysis, financial analysis slides, and go through the annotated pre-sin, thereby mastering pre-sin info before we direct our attention towards attempting mock exams under exam conditions. So I hope you will stick to our study plan and finish off preparations based on the pre-sin before we start our mock attempts. And I think that another question had come through. Yvonne is asking a question. I joined a bit late. How long does it take before one writes the final exam? So as I mentioned previously, Yvonne, you need not worry. The recorded version of this session will be uploaded to YouTube and can be accessed via our student dashboard as well. So the exams are happening from the 11th to the 13th of February. So we are in December. Today is the 7th of December. So you have something like 2 weeks at your disposal. So there's enough and more time. I've also explained a study plan which can be accessed via our website. I will share this link to our study plan via the WhatsApp group. Please go through it. First things first, watch the recorded version of this session since you joined late, and then go through the study plan. Then you'd realize what you should do in the upcoming weeks when conducting preparations. I hope I addressed your concern. You're welcome. So see you folks. Thank you very much for joining. I'll see you guys next week.